And we have Sharp on the phone right now to tell us about his career and to tell us about what's coming up next Monday. Sharp, welcome to WPFW.
Peace, Rusty. Thank you so much.
Well, it's a pleasure having you and our conversation about making that connection from the Bohemian Caverns so many years ago when you gave me this album that we'll have queued up a little bit later on after our conversation of hymns and things. But well, let's go back to the beginning. How did you get into playing the piano and focusing primarily on jazz? Tell us about your beginnings.
Well, I started out playing in the black church. Actually, I played in several churches. But I used to play alto saxophone in church, and I used to play drums in church and piano.
Okay.
But I started out playing in church, and as far as getting into jazz music, I remember one day I was listening to the radio, and I heard this beautiful ballad being played, and I called the radio station up, and I asked them to play it again, and they were kind enough to do that. And I said, "What song is that?" And they said, "Well, that song is a song by John Coltrane, Central Park West."
Okay, wow.
Yes, that was Central Park West, and they were kind enough to play it again. And then I called the station again, and I said, "Hey, can you play that song again? I want to put it on a cassette." So I put it on a tape. They were kind enough to do that again. And but they said that was the last time they could do it.
Where was this? And what station was that, if you remember?
This was in Hartford. I'm not exactly sure which station it was.
Okay.
But this was in Hartford, Connecticut, where I was born.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was actually, although I was born in New Jersey, I grew up in Connecticut, in fact.
Okay.
Yeah, I grew up in Greenwich, went to Jesuit High School in Fairfield, and wound up going to Georgetown in 1963 and been in D.C. ever since. Got married, raised 2 daughters, and 2 grandkids who've been part of my musical adventure, catching all these great artists that I've been able to hear.
Wow. I heard you say that you had 2 opportunities to see John Coltrane.
Yes. In fact, I was 17 years old, just coming out of Fairfield Prep, and I had a good buddy who passed away a few years ago, who was always the adventurous one, and we just told our parents, hey, we're spending the weekend at each other's house, and we drove up to Newport for the Jazz Festival. And this was in 1963. Saw a host of artists, but Jimmy Smith had the folks really dancing on the chair. And then Coltrane was the last to perform, and he had this is when he had Roy Haynes on drums. And boy, that my favorite things that I played earlier this evening to start today's show. It just grabbed me. It really did. And then I came here to D.C. and I caught the quartet at the Bohemian Caverns. A few weeks after I saw Ramsey Lewis record the In Crowd. It was quite a contrast. Wow. So I've been really, really blessed, to say the least.
Wow. I wish I could have heard him play.
Oh man, it was really something. Jesus, it was just. After the performance at the Caverns, he walked past me, and I just couldn't say anything. It's just really tongue-tied. And over the years, I got to know McCoy Tyner, and he laughed. He said, John would have loved to have talked to you. Anything but, you couldn't talk about sports. It all had to be all about the music, And many years later, I introduced McCoy Tyner to a jazz festival, the Duke Ellington Jazz Festival here in D.C., mentioning that I saw him perform with John Coltrane. And he sent me the recording of the concert with my introduction. I really feel fortunate. So, But tell us how you shifted your career from going from the spiritual to gospel to listening to jazz and delving into it.
Well, I didn't really shift, because I continued to play in church, all throughout my jazz career. Yeah, it's just I was doing both at the same time and playing other genres as well. Mm-hmm. But I do credit John Coltrane with getting my attention and pulling me into this music. Yeah.
So you along your career, you hooked up with some really significant artists that you worked with. Tell us about that.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's see. A few of them would be Benny Golson, mm-hmm. Curtis Fuller, and done some work with Lou Hayes and James Spaulding and Slide Hampton and Yusef Lateef.
Yes.
Candido Camero.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
A number. Leopoldo Fleming, a number of folks.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. But, some of them, if we're talking about like Candido Camero and Benny Golson, and even though I didn't work with Randy Weston, he called me to sub some work with him. But he ended up being someone who's really close.
Sure, absolutely.
I really consider them to be.
Mm-hmm.
I really consider them to be among my oldest friends.
Sure.
When they were here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The type of relationship that we developed over time.
I have a photograph of my granddaughter with Randy Weston backstage at the Kennedy Center after he did his James Reese Europe tribute. It was really just such a pleasure that, so that someone like Randy Weston knew who I was, and I was able to, get that photo.
Yeah. I remember the day that we met. I was at the, you remember this place called the Jazz Standard?
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was doing a week there celebrating his birthday, and I heard he was there. So after the last set, one of the nights he was there, after the last set, I made a beeline to the piano, and he was still sitting at the piano.
Okay.
And I introduced myself to him, and he looked up at me from the piano. He said, "Man, they're making piano players big these days." And then he stood up and looked down on me and started laughing because he was huge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I remember that moment so clearly, and we developed a relationship from that moment on.
Oh, he was such a gentle giant. He really was an incredible artist, and also just a sweet guy. We have a really important announcer here at WPFW, Willard Jenkins, who was the assembler of his autobiography, African Rhythms. And I'm always in awe of Willard for that work that he did, all that he put into it. Just an incredible book.
Yes, indeed.
So tell us about, we heard from this recording, Black Woman, A Conversation. Tell us about, the artists that you have with you on it and, the concept that you put together in doing it.
Okay. Well, first of all, as you said, it's called Black Woman, and the subtitle is A Conversation. And it has that subtitle because in the studio, I had about a 45-minute conversation with a couple of the women who are in the band. And by the way, the band, the core unit, is all black women.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had a conversation that was recorded in the studio. We were talking about just issues pertinent to the black woman and her experience. And so you have little snippets of this conversation that you hear throughout the entirety of the record.
I see so that you have
conversation.
Oh yes, you have the mother of a very good friend of mine, who's your bassist on your earlier album, plays bass on one track on this one. So you have Kathy English Holt speaking a little bit.
Yes, Mama Kathy English Holt is on there. My mother is on one of the tracks as well.
Mm-hmm.
The core members of the ensemble on basses, and Dia Owens and Camille Gaynor-Jones on drums and other percussion. And Camille Thurman, she's playing tenor saxophone and also flute. And then we have Cynthia Soriano singing on one of the tracks, and Chanel Johns singing on one of the tracks. And then we have some special guests. We have James Spaulding.
Sure.
And this is also the last record that Candido Camero recorded on. So he makes an appearance on this record as well. Yeah. And then we have Dwayne Eubanks. You mentioned Corcoran Holt. He's on there. And Andre Murchison playing trombone. And Chris Beck is also playing drums on a couple tracks. But for the most part, it's the all-women's ensemble that you hear with some special guests.
Can I really appreciate this, having been married to a black woman for 56 years. It's been quite a relationship, to say the least, and ongoing. Some struggles along the way, but two beautiful daughters and two wonderful grandchildren. My grandson Kane is actually listening to us now out in California. He tunes in and texts me and let me know that he's tuned in.
What's your grandson's name?
It's Kane. Yeah.
Oh, Kane.
Yeah. Kane was my partner hearing some music along the way. Got a picture of him with Sonny Rollins. Just a couple of other folks along the way also.
Wow.
But then his sister came along, and truly, boy, she's got her photo with Randy Weston and with the late Jerry Allen and a couple of other folks. I was really blessed to have the youngsters hang out with their old granddad, catching the music. We have to remind folks that you're listening to WPFW 89.3 in Washington. I'm Rusty Hassan, and my guest this evening is Sharp Radway, and we've been featuring his music, and he's going to tell us a little bit about what's coming up on Monday.
Okay, well, on Monday, I'll be there in D.C., and the venue is the Decatur House. And I'll be there just for 1 hour, doing one set of solo piano from 7 to about 8 o'clock. And again, that's Monday the 29th, which happens to be my birthday.
Oh, fantastic. Well, this is really exciting. My daughter is an administrator out at Arizona State University, where Corcoran Holt is teaching now.
Okay.
She's in town for the Congressional Black Caucus, and she'll be coming with me to the concert. So, really excited to make this connection.
Oh, good. Well, I'll be happy to see you. It's been so long, you know.
Absolutely, no. I know.
Goodness.
So, what do you have coming up after this Monday performance?
Oh, I have some things happening here in New York. I have something with one of my favorite band leaders, Justin Robinson, alto saxophonist, who worked with Roy Hargrove for at least 20 years or so. And we have something at Smalls Jazz Club on the 17th. And then I also have something coming up with a wonderful trumpet player by the name of Satish Robertson at Sister's Place in Brooklyn. And then, we were talking not too long ago, just a moment ago, you and I were speaking about Randy Weston. I've been working with his ensemble, African Rhythms, since Dr. Weston made his transition. It's been 7 years now that we've been working together. And so we have something coming up in Winnipeg, in Canada. So there's a bunch of things on the horizon. Also some private stuff, some money gigs.
Sure, absolutely. So who's working with you with the African Rhythms ensemble?
Okay, so the core members of that band is Brother T.K. Blue, playing alto saxophone and flute as well. And then we have Chief Baba Neil Clark on African percussion. And, of course, the inimitable Alex Blake.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, no, Burnett Thompson's presented Alex Blake and had presented him a couple of times. And I just saw TK a few months ago. He was in town playing at Tacoma Station. Did an interview prior to that. It's always great having a conversation with him. So you have a very important position to cover that music, I'm sure.
Yeah. But it's for me, it's really in addition to it being an honor, it's really just. I was going to say a labor of love, but
sure.
It's not labor for me.
No, of course.
It's just a matter of love,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, again, Monday night, we're at the
Decatur House.
Okay.
There in D.C., the Decatur House Museum, I believe.
Yep, on Jackson Place, right near downtown, near the infamous house that we won't get into. Yeah. PianoJazz.com is the website to go to find out about. So again, we have Mother Eve queued up, and then something from the earlier album that I mentioned about the Spirituals album. So we got a couple of things queued up. And
okay, wonderful.
And again, you pretty much laid out the personnel from your Black Woman, A Conversation, and on the earlier album, Hymns and Things. Boy, quite a lineup also. James Spaulding, Greg Tardy, Corcoran Holt, McClinty Hunter, Emmanuel Howard, Harold playing with you also on that. So we got a couple of cuts we'll do from that, Mother Eve, and then what was the piece we? Well, He Looked Beyond My Faults. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Sharp Radway, thanks for calling in tonight. We're getting into your music now, and it's a delightful conversation. Looking forward. So we'll catch you later, man. Here's your music now from Black Woman, A Conversation, and Mother Eve, the First Lady.
All right. Peace and blessings to you.
Mm-hmm.